Okay, welcome back, everybody. We're going to go over what we talked about in class today, which is the unit circle. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so this is going to be something that's going to follow us around for the rest of the year. So this is the unit circle. There's going to be some numbers that we're going to plug in here, and they're really important that we kind of keep a handle on it. So again, if we want to look at our unit circle, there's our circle. What we're going to find out is that every one of these radius, every one of these lines going out to the circle is equal to 1. So basically what we're doing is, if you think back to our X, Y, R, where we had our coordinate plane and we said, here's X, Y, R, we drew ourselves a right triangle. And then we put the theta here. Basically what I'm saying is that every one of these hypotenuse is going to be equal to 1. So the one thing to realize is every single time R is going to equal 1. So all of these lengths are 1. Now, if you do that, there are some set numbers that are always going to be. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is here. That's the 0.10. Sorry, get on the screen. 10. Okay, so now what that is in terms of our degrees, that is a 0 degree angle, and it is 0 radians. So we're at 0 radians there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work our way around the circle. And what's going to happen is the next one we're going to deal with is we're going to deal with a 30-degree angle. And that 30-degree angle is going to be pi over 6 radians. And the coordinates on that are going to be square root of 3 over 2, comma 1 over 2 1/2. So root 3 over 2 and 1/2. You're going to notice these numbers are going to look a little weird, but once we start going around the circle, you'll see that there's a rhythm to them, a pattern to them. So our next one, we go from a 0 degree to a 30 degree. The next one we need to know is a 45 degree. And our 45 degree is going to be pi over 4 radians. We need to know both. And the numbers there are going to be root 2 over 2, comma, root 2 over 2. Our next one as we go up is going to be our 60-degree angle. That's going to be pi over 3. And when we look at that, that's going to be 1/2, comma, root 3 over 2. And then the last one here is we finish off quadrant 1. We have a 90-degree angle. A 90-degree angle is going to be pi over 2. And that number there is going to be 0, 1. So if you remember, we're in quadrant 1. We're in quadrant 1. So what that tells me is my x's are positive and my y's are positive. So we're in quadrant 1, x's are positive. So all the first numbers are positive, y's are positive, all of the second numbers are positive. And if you actually look at this, the way the numbers go is it goes, if you think about it, 1, this is root 3 over 2, root 2 over 2, 1 over 2. The way I always learned it, and I don't know if this will help or not, is if you think about it, and I'll put it on the back, 1 is the same thing as the square root of 4 over 2, because the square root of 4 over 2 is 2 over 2, and 2 over 2 is 1. So it goes from root 4 over 2 to root 3 over 2 to root 2 over 2 to root 1 over 2 to root 0 over 2. And if you think about it, root 3 over 2, we can't simplify it. We leave it as root 3 over 2. Root 2 over 2, we can't simplify. We leave it as root 2 over 2. Root 1 over 2. The square root of 1 is 1/2 as 1, so that's 1/2. And the square root of 0 is 0 over 2, so that simplifies to 0. So we go from 1 to root 3 over 2 to root 2 over 2 to 1/2 to 0. Going back, 1, root 3 over 2, root 2 over 2, 1/2, 0. So that's quadrant 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of walk through your other quadrants, because if you remember, we're in quadrant 2. So in quadrant 2, our x's are negative, our y's are positive. And as we work our way through here, what you're going to see is where that comes into play. So this is going to be 120 degrees. This is going to be 2 pi over 3. And this is going to be negative 1/2 root 3 over 2. The next one we deal with is going to be 135 degrees. That is going to be 3 pi over 4. And that is going to be negative root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2. Our next one is 150 degrees. That is going to be 5 pi over 6. And that is going to be negative root 3 over 2, 1/2. And then finally here, we're at 180 degrees, which is pi radians. And that's going to be negative 1, 0. So again, if you kind of look at the pattern, it goes down. So 1 to root 3 to root 2 to root 1 to root 0, back up, root 1, root 2, root 3, and then 1 again. And the cosines go up, so 0, 1, 2, the y's go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back down again. There's some patterns there. Hopefully you'll start to see them because it makes it a little bit easier to remember this. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish this off. This is 210 degrees and 7 pi over 6. And that's going to be quadrant 3, where we have x's are negative and y's are negative. So that tells me this is going to be negative root 3 over 2, negative 1/2. This next one is going to be 225 degrees. This is going to be 5 pi over 4. And those numbers are going to be negative root 2 over 2, negative root 2 over 2. Our next one is going to be our 240 degrees. And this is going to be 4 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3 radians. This is negative 1/2, negative root 3 over 2. And this last guy here to finish off quadrant 3 is 270 degrees, which is going to be 3 pi over 2. And that's going to be 0, negative 1. And now we're moving on to quadrant 4. And quadrant 4 is where my x's are positive and my y's are negative. So I'm going to just keep going. This is 300 degrees. This is going to be 5 pi over 3. And this is going to be 1/2, negative root 3 over 2. The next one is going to be 315 degrees. And that's going to be 7 pi over 4. And that's going to be root 2 over 2, negative root 2 over 2. So it's going to be root 2 over 2 and negative root 2 over 2. And then last one, or the second to last one here is 330 degrees, 330 degrees. It only took me once. This is going to be 11 pi over 6. And this is going to be root 3 over 2, negative 1/2. And then last but not least, we bring it back to the beginning where we're at 360 degrees, which is 2 pi, but we're back to 1, 0 again. So there's some patterns to look with. If you notice anything that is over 6, anything that's over 6 has a root 3 over 2 first and a 1/2 second. So if you look, anything that's over 6 always has a root 3 over 2 is the x and a 1/2 is the y. Anything that's over 4, has the root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2. So if we go and look at all the over 4s, and then anything that's over 3, it's a 1 and a 3. So I mean, like, there's some patterns to it that you can see. What I really want you to do is you basically need to kind of have this. I gave you cardstock copy that I wanted you to fill out. I want you to kind of have that and use that from here forward, because that's going to be a really important thing to be able to refer to. So hopefully that helped. So that's the end of our discussion of our unit circle.